So, different kind of routine today. Um, got some great feedback on what I've been doing so far. I'm exploring comedy ideas, making jokes, drawing from personal experience, etc. And the stuff that I've done so far, I've been working very much from, like, I've prepared it and then I've written notes, and actually I hadn't apart from the first one, I hadn't really memorized anything, so I was kind of reading from the notes. I was looking to the side, which is a bit distracting. Kind of makes me think of that thing, when you become aware of eye contact with someone. You're talking to someone, you think, or maybe somebody's mentioned, really, if you're in a job interview, you have to, sort of maintain eye contact, and you kind of like, you start to become self-conscious. Am I now staring at this person in a slightly psychotic way? Or so when I looked at some of these videos, my eyes were kind of darting around at these notes, and it's probably quite distracting. So this time I haven't got any notes, haven't actually prepared anything. So this is a bit of improv. It's like late evening, everybody's gone to bed. Here I am improvising, and let's just see what things I can come up with that might be of interest. Personas. I mean, this is what I'm calling this. What kind of persona would I have if I was going to be like a comedian on a stage? Is it something that you need to really think about, or does it just sort of emerge? I have read interviews with comedians that are saying that when they're on stage, it's kind of their persona is them, but kind of cranked up a few degrees to sort of maybe exaggerate certain aspects of their personality. So then you have to think, well, what's my personality? What do I want to kind of crank up? You think of the personalities of, there's the classic thing of the tears of the clown, isn't there? Comedians struggling with depression, finding an outlet through humor, comedy, validation from an audience, perhaps. Someone like Peter Sellers he was a great comic actor, but he wasn't known for his quips down the pub. Very serious guy, struggled with depression. I have been fortunate in my life. I haven't struggled with depression. I feel like I'm a reasonably well-adjusted person. Of course, I have all my repressed emotions, like lots of people, maybe a few more than others. Maybe that's something I can bring out onto the stage. But otherwise, I'm not a especially ambitious person. I'm not hugely confident. Maybe I'm a bit diffident, modest, humble. Can I say I'm humble? Probably there's a contradiction in there somewhere, isn't there? But I don't know if that's the skill set of a comedian, really. Is it to be modest, diffident, self-effacing? Or maybe I could be ahead of the curve. Maybe this could be the new wave of comedy. I could be mapping out virgin territory for well-adjusted, self-effacing, not self-evading. Bit of a subconscious little thing bubbling up there. No, self-effacing. Diffident comedians, the new diffident comedy. Maybe like the meek. Because in the Bible, didn't it, Jesus said that the meek shall inherit the earth. You can imagine that. You imagine the moment when that happened. Jesus says to the meek, "Here you are, the earth." It's the meek saying, "Oh, we couldn't possibly know, really. You shouldn't have. No, we couldn't." But I can think of someone else, actually. There was a story about Coldplay. Chris Martin, apparently when they started out, I mean, they were successful pretty quickly, but early on, they're playing to small audiences, and Chris Martin, the singer, he used to apologize at the end of the songs. They play a song, everything is yellow, sorry. And apparently the rest of the band used to get really annoyed about that, but certainly didn't hold them back, did it? I mean, they're playing arenas now all around the world. Maybe you should still do that, be consistent. So it's like, everything is yellow, 100,000 people, Sao Paulo. Sorry, Sao Paulo. Maybe. So, yeah. So I haven't done any jokes in this routine. So I haven't kind of manufactured a sort of fictional scenario just to lead up to a punchline. This is just me talking without any particular plan. Another thing that a lot of comedians do is draw from personal experience. I think I talked about that a bit in the light bulb moments. So I could say something about my very, very early life, see if there could be something of interest, something funny in that. Okay, this is not going to sound very funny initially, but let's see if there's anything in here. So early life, my mum and dad divorced, and okay, so hang in there with this. So my dad divorced, and my mum left my dad, took me and my sister, and went to Hastings, as you do, and and she got a job as a housekeeper in a beautiful old Victorian mansion. Well, kind of mansion, not mansion, really, just a beautiful old house. Seemed like a mansion to me at 4 years old. And it was owned by an aristocratic Victorian family. Remember the Admiral, as he was known, the gentleman, husband, of the family, of the couple. He used to go he was 90 years old. He used to go for a walk every morning, very cheery, sort of oldie worldy, elegant kind of man, and very nice to me and my sister and I. And they used to have these banquets with these Victorian friends in Hastings. There's kind of this hidden aristocracy of people. And we lived in this little attic flat, and there was one of these dumb waiters, one of those kind of little sort of lift things that carry food and drinks from one floor to another. And I used to hide in the dumb waiter and jump out at all these kind of aristocrats, and made a bit of a nuisance of myself. We had a water boiler in this attic flat that used to make the most awful racket, belching like it probably was built in the 19th century. And my mum named it Claude, so it was became one of the family, really. But I felt a little bit like we were the secret family in the attic there. We used to watch Doctor Who. My sister and I, we used to sit behind the sofa, and I used to report to her what was happening because it was so scary. And then, of course, my mum would be so busy with these banquets and going to Tesco's to buy quail's eggs, things like that. And there was one story that she had that I suddenly appeared in the kitchen was on the ground floor. We were in the attic. I suddenly appeared in the kitchen late at night when she was clearing up after one of their banquets, dinner parties. She said, I was 4 years old. She said, how did you get here in the dark? All this way in the dark. And I said, I just closed my eyes the whole time. So yeah, some stories there. Everything that I've just said there was absolutely true. There was one detail that I threw in there that wasn't true. I wonder if anybody can guess what it is. Quail's eggs in Tesco's, yeah. Maybe that's the bit that isn't very funny. The rest of it's funny. I don't know. Interesting. Anyway, so that's it. Personas, something to work on. Do I want to crank this up a bit more? My diffidence and my self-deprecation. Maybe I'll just take on a completely different personality. just be me. Let's see. Thanks for listening, guys.